Welcome back, everyone. It's August 19th, 2020. I'm Jerry Hall, and here's the view from Costa Rica. Quick peek at CoinPavrika shows that we've taken a hit. 4% is a pretty big hit in 24 hours for the overall market cap. I'm not a big fan of seeing these kind of dips. However, they're going to happen. It is a market. It's a truly free market. Some might say manipulated. I don't know. There's definitely some shenanigans going on with some of these things. But for the most part, I think what we're looking at is truly what it is. People have decided to take gains. Good for them, as they should. But what I wanted to really talk about today is a slightly different market. I want to talk about the Forex market and the value that the Forex market brings to the digital asset space, specifically my beloved XRP. Many of you have seen this graph in the past. This is the most traded currency pairs. And you take a look and, it's dominated by the US dollar. You've got the euro to US. You've got the US to Japanese yen. The dollar to the Great British pound. The dollar to the Aussie dollar. And so on, and so on, and so on. And it's been that way for a long time. This FXSSI article, the most traded currency pairs in Forex 2020 edition, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below. But it's important to understand the role of the FX market globally, regardless if it's dominated by the US dollar or does the US dollar get supplanted by something else. It's important to understand Forex because Forex is at the core of value transmission for the globe. And if we're really truly going to see an asset like XRP become a bridge currency for the globe, understanding the market that it plays in is very important. I'm going to take you to another article here. The 7 most traded currencies in 2018 and their made traits. Now, what I found really incredible about this article is that it goes into really breaking down the nuances and traits that these various top 7 currencies have and their roles in that global Forex market. It's not a very long read. It's actually a very informative short read, and I would suggest it to anybody. But this whole topic of Forex today was really stimulated by a tweet from Mr. Crypto Wolf. And Crypto Wolf starts off his tweet with the headline, Goldman Sachs FX senior executive has resigned to join Ripple. That's right. Will become Ripple's new senior manager for global institutional markets. Now, I'm going to play a clip for you. And I think it's really, really important to remember that this clip was back in 2018. And I remember when I heard it, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought of that. Matter of fact, at that particular time in my education, I was not that clear how FX worked. How do currencies get exchanged? Who does it? When does it happen? Well, I'll tell you what, the journey of understanding and learning Forex has been not only entertaining, but really draws for me a very clear picture of the value proposition of a bridge asset like XRP. This clip is from a young man named Douglas Borthwick, who I had the good fortune of spending an hour with. His recorded interview is the very first interview in my one-on-one playlist here on the channel. Please go check it out. Matter of fact, I will put it at the end of this video and you can click it. But this clip is from him sitting at a Wall Street roundtable talking with the likes of Mr. Jim Rickards. And he brings up this point about Ripple and FX. Hear it in his words.
There are some cryptos that are working with regulators and are working with banks.
I agree.
Ripple
right.
would be an example.
Ripple would be an
XRP.
example, right?
Now this is and I can imagine in the next 5 years, instead of us doing sterling against the dollar or sterling against yen and doing these kinds of transactions, we'll do sterling versus Ripple. And the reason being, dollar right now is a 2-day settlement. With something like Ripple, you could do settlement in seconds. And I think that there's a future there where the guy that's trading spot FX today will be trading spot FX against Ripple in the future, in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that Ripple has a great future because it's right now supported by all the banks and by all the regulators.
And it has an elastic monetary base. Right?
So
Well,
if we take that and you go to the blockchain ledger, if you take that concept that you're discussing, I have no problem with it. I agree with it. But you're talking about
Pretty powerful stuff. And it's very realistic. That is a probable outcome. I don't know if I can assign a percentage to its probability, but I can tell you it's absolutely 100% a probable outcome. And when I take a look at a Ripple hire like this, the likelihood of that outcome coming to fruition increases exponentially. Because you got to remember, there are several types of capital. Obviously, there's capital in the form of dollars or value as it pertains to currency, but there's also a value in social capital. Goldman Sachs has been the quintessential leader maker, king maker, whatever you want to call it. It's been the kind of company that has produced a culture that produces winners. People leave Goldman Sachs and they become heads of state, treasury secretaries, trade ministers. I mean, it is scary to see how many people in power today, as it pertains to finance, have come out of Goldman Sachs. Well, here this young man has spent the last 7 years at Goldman I'm going to just read it to you. He's spent the past 7 years at Goldman Sachs, beginning as an FX analyst in Bangalore, India in 2013, before moving to London in 2015. Now, London forever has been the hub of FX exchange. So that you know, that's kind of like the capital. Like if you're into country music, which I'm not, but if you were, you'd know that Nashville is the king, right? So London is that to FX. He rose through the ranks of the investment bank to become the executive director, global FX and emerging markets franchise management for Goldman. Wow. And before that, he worked for Flow Traders and SHBC in Singapore. This is a huge get for Ripple. Not only does he have the experience and understanding of the global FX market, but he has the social capital and the relationships built with people to pick up the phone and make things happen. Ripple has been incredible in that regard, hiring incredible people from influential companies who have connections. The pieces are starting to come together. I've been underwhelmed, I'll be honest. I've been underwhelmed at the adoption of ODL. My original thinking was with MoneyGram and the fees that they were paying to make that happen, I thought to myself, okay, I get it. They need to prime the pump. They need to get the flywheel going. So they would grease the wheels with 15 million a month or whatever the number was. But one would think that after several months and the pump is primed, that the pump would just start going. If ODL truly had a value proposition, if it truly was cost saving, why didn't it gain momentum? Well, there are obviously things about the market and about the industry that I'm not aware of. as I'm sure there are many elements of that that you are unaware of. Hopefully all these will be answered for us eventually. I'm looking for really good things for the rest of the year for Ripple. And in 2021, with a little bit more regulation and a little bit of this social capital, XRP should be primed to take its role as a bridge currency. Fingers crossed, eyes open, and that's enough for me. So until next time, everybody, from Costa Rica, Pura Vida.